live. Finally getting into actual hoops.
Whoa. And welcome. What is up, everyone, to the Pump Fake Pod. How we doing? It's been a while since we've had three men in the booth. Trevor, Elliot, how we feeling today?
Good. Finally getting into actual hoops. Baseball's winding out. Football's kicking off. Basketball's getting ready to get rolling. It's a good time of the year.
Yep, man. I've just been kind of MIA on the gambling side of things this summer. Just been working. Bought a house, so that's been an adventure over the summer. So we've just been kind of hanging out and really just putting the nose to the grindstone, as Tyler Childers says. And we've been going to work. So I'm ready for a little break and ready to get back into action with this basketball.
Is Tyler Childress, is he playing the Patriot League or no?
Nah, he's just a folklore legend.
Yeah, whatever. His music makes me cry. But anyway, we are back. Pump Fake Pod going off season now. Official conference previews. We're off and running to the Gambit, so these are all recorded. Obviously, not joining us live, you can still tune back in to the Ohio Valley Conference and Patriot League. We're going to be combining the low majors and some mid majors, and then we'll be doing some standalone conferences as well, previews later into the month of October. Our content calendar, not the best graphic design release you're going to see on these slides later. We're not graphic designers, but we do like talking basketball, and that's what we're here to do. So on that note, you're able to tune in on our Twitter. The pinned tweet has our content calendar for the rest of this off season while we do conference previews before we go into the award shows and whatnot. And I'm really excited about it. I feel like basketball is around the corner. You know, I go to the first NFL game of the week, and we have Jim Irsay Memorial. We have the Colts dominating, but all I can think of for some reason,
that was the easiest bet of the week. Easiest bet of the week.
Oh, easiest.
Colts money line was so free.
Easiest bet. But besides that, all I could think of was that basketball is going to be here too, and we're going to be privileged to have our sports equinox this fall again.
All you could think about was IUPUI front row with the wife.
Yep. I had great seats for the Colts game, and I still thought front row at IUPUI where Trevor's circling me like I'm the most famous person in the world at this game. And it felt good. And circling Zoe. So, but how we feeling today, boys? What's up? How we feeling this week? What's going on in your guys' world before we get into it?
Work. It's Packer football time. Time to do a really good series.
Any gambling wins for you, Trevor?
No, baseball's been terrible. We're on to football and basketball.
Elliot, you said you've kind of taken off the gas any breaks. Did you not bet on week one?
NFL? No. I bet a little bit on week one of the NFL. I had the Colts money line, and then other than that, I actually did have the Bills money line, which I don't know how in the world that came through. And then I also had I live bet the Vikings once McCarthy threw that touchdown pass to Jettas in the end zone. So I had some good wins. I did throw some. I didn't have all wins, but I threw a couple some parlays and stuff that didn't really hit. And then last night, actually, I went 4-1 on the Dana White Contender Series. So that was a good start to the week. The dogs were barking.
You sent that in, the acronym of the alphabet, and I was confused. I had to Google it. I was like, is this man watching some random tennis league or what's going on here? So,
it's been good.
Good for you guys. Yeah, Colts were big. I hit Colts. I hit Vikings live late and staying alive in my Survivor, and two commissioned teams 1-0 in fantasy. But that's not what we're here for. We are here to talk college basketball. So before we get into previews, we do have some news. Obviously, there was a tragedy today of a shooting on a Utah Valley campus. Regardless of what your political beliefs are, it was a disgusting act that I saw I'm sure, and many of us all. And so we'll just leave it at that. Thoughts and prayers to the family of Charlie Kirk. But regardless of what you believe, it was really tough to see that. And and especially on a college campus of Utah Valley, where we teams that we love. So, but moving on to college basketball, we did have some news of a scandal: San Jose State versus Fresno State. We had some transfers, former roommates on Fresno State. One transfer goes to San Jose State. They continue their gambling ploy. They about gambled almost $20,000. It's becoming. There's going to be 5 more of these. What's your guys' thoughts, Trevor, Elliot, Trevor? Go ahead. What's your thoughts? We love gambling. We talk about it, but it's creeping into college basketball really hard and into these teams.
I had no idea, but Fresno State involved, that kind of makes a whole lot of sense based on how their season went last year and some of these games ended. So, not surprised at all. San Jose too. Sure, but Fresno's the one that I'm not even shocked at.
Yeah, Fresno was horrible last year. Elliot, you always mention Tim Miles. He couldn't even raggle the boys, I guess. So what happened there?
I don't know. I think like you said, it's going to be one of those things where it's going to happen a lot more frequently than what we've been seeing, just because of the fact that gambling in and of itself is becoming more and more of a household kind of a deal. And so I really feel that we're just going to see more and more of these kind of scandals, especially from those lower tier teams, with those kids with, not as good of NIL budgets. They're going to, do anything to, miss a couple free throws or hit an under, hit an over to get, 50, make 50K from some dude in New York to blow the spread on a Fresno State, Sac State over 142.5. So it's unfortunate, but it's part of the business.
I mean, they were figuring out which props that they had. They were going against they were gambling on DFS as well too. So for the sickos gambling over unders on a player prop in San Jose State, there's definitely a few in this chat, if not on this podcast alone. But it's definitely going to be an issue. I've always gambled the low end teams for an edge. Now we got to find the edge of making sure that they're not having a random DraftKings account. So what a time there, Fresno State. Trevor, you made a great point. They were pretty awful. And they were tough to watch. So you guys got anything else, though? That's pretty much it on the college basketball front. Obviously, we're going to get into more news and releases. We're going to do more shows next week. We're really starting to ramp up these conference previews. We got 36 to unravel. I mean, 368 teams to go through.
Other big kind of news: Billy Lang leaving St. Joe's abruptly right before the season. Goes to the New York Knicks. So St. Joe's position is open. So that's a crazy exit right before. Did I hire within?
They hired someone, Trevor.
I believe Rothstein.
Rothstein. He's locked in.
We sleep in May.
Here we go. Steve Donahue.
Okay.
6 hours ago. I have to do some Googling on Steve Donahue.
Yes, Steve Donahue. I mean, we had.
This guy. He was the Penn head coach, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's a good hire. He's familiar with everything, but familiar with the program, so I don't mind it. I think that's a good hire. I think San Jose State, not San Jose State. We were just talking about them. St. Joe's, they really came out and was a good team last year. We bet on them a lot.
Yeah, especially early.
They were hit or miss. They were infuriating.
Right. Great call out, Elliot. Hey, professional money, man. Huh? It talks.
Yep, money talks.
Money talks. Leaving the program. But I'll tell you who's not leaving the program. The Pump Fake Pod. We stand united. Cheers, fellas. Grab a drink. We're about to chop it in, unless everyone's got anything else. Anyone in the chat's got anything, feel free to drop anything, because we're going to be talking some of the two most prestigious conferences in college basketball today. So cheers to this. Cheers to these ones. The Ohio Valley Conference and the Patriot League, two perennial conferences that are 15 and 16 seeds, but we've seen them upset teams. Morehead State had a run in the Ohio Valley to be a 13 seed. So we see teams every once in a while pop off. But Patriot League, perennial 14 through 16 seed in March Madness. But that's what we love. We're here in the Pump Fake Pod. We're going to chop it up. So make sure that you like and subscribe to Pump Fake Pod on all socials, YouTube. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Last
year was, I think, it was one of those things. God dang, my connection keeps going off. It was one of those things where I believe American won, and they were in the first four, and that's when Matt Rogers got hurt, like literally like first freaking play of the game, or then try to come back. So they were, as you said, 14 through 16 last year. They were 16 in the play-in game, but represent, baby.
They kind of made a run, and those play-in games were better than some of those first-round games, at least.
Yeah.
Trevor, how we feeling? Your two favorite conferences. I mean, we're gonna throw cheddar on all these.
They're up there. Favorite's a strong word, but they're definitely up there.
They're definitely up there.
All right. I definitely, I definitely say I'd favor. There's a couple reasons, but I do favor the Ohio Valley over the Patriot League. So I'm excited to talk Ohio Valley, and I'll bring those up as we discuss. But there's a few reasons, but I tend to favor the Ohio Valley.
No, Patriot League over Ohio Valley for me all day.
CBS Sports, CBS Sports Network. I mean,
Army, Bucknell, bangers.
Friday night Patriot League. I mean, I think both of these teams get a random Wednesday, Thursday spot in there. So I'm excited for these teams.
It's 3 Midwestern boys and only one Midwesterner takes the Ohio Valley. God dang, that's tough.
You're
out there in the Northeastern. You got to go join Crutch. Go move in with Crutch.
Nah, I don't mind the Patriot League on CBS Sports. I love the Ohio Valley. I think the Ohio Valley people have a good read. They act like they have a good read based on what had happened last year. But it's always a whole new ball game, as we saw a couple teams that we're about to talk about. Shall we?
Let's do it.
Yeah. We were going to flip a coin, but then I made slides. Disclaimer. And then at Eastern Illinois, Ohio Valley became first. So we're going to flip a coin. Oh, the game's rigged. You lose. Ohio Valley's coming. See how this works. Like I said, we're not graphic designers. We're here to talk basketball. I did this in 15 minutes before the show. I'll get better. Eastern Illinois Panthers in Charleston, Illinois. Last season, 12-19. These teams Eastern Illinois has been perennial losers, unfortunately, but they have made some upsets. They upset Iowa on the road a couple of years ago. And I believe, they hung tough against IU last year, not saying much. But they are a good team. And they went 8-12, at least in the Ohio Valley. It is only 9th, but they showed wins. We've seen Eastern Illinois be 3-15 in the Ohio Valley, perennial losers. Coach Marty Simmons, 40-85, 4th year in Eastern Illinois. What's up and what's going to happen in Charleston, Illinois? How are we feeling about it, Eastern Illinois this year?
Yeah.
I didn't get too much into the Ohio Valley over Patriot League. So, I mean, I got stuff, but if you guys got more notes, feel free to take it away.
Well, yeah, I think what happened was with Eastern Illinois, they're going to return 2 starters. I mean, they definitely have a good team and roster this year, and a little step down. They are projected to be at the lower end of the conference, but I think that's just basically kind of how it works. Basically how it works because they've been perennial losers. They're going to lack a good backcourt this year, where they kind of excelled against those large teams. But they did keep some starters down low in the front court. So maybe that kind of helps them more in conference play down low. games are won in those times, down low and on defense. So, Eastern Illinois.
Yeah, I think
alphabetically too. These are not anything about projections. We're going to give all of our projections for the conference 1 through 10 here in the Ohio Valley at the end of our analysis. But we're going to go through these alphabetically. And yes, E is the first one on the alphabet in the Ohio Valley.
Yeah, so for Eastern Illinois, I mean, they kind of were bit by the injury bug last year. When I was looking kind of into things, only 2 starters played in every game, and so that was really unfortunate for them. They just really couldn't get off on the right foot per se. But I really think that to see maybe just a little bit of a step up. I don't think that they're going to finish 9th, like bottom tier, 9th out of 11. But I don't see them being in that top 4 or 5, something like that. So I could see him finishing middle of the pack, kind of maybe picking some teams off at the top tier in the top portion of the conference there at home if they can stay healthy. But it'll be interesting. We'll kind of see.
They're going to play a couple red shirts this year too. So coach 4 years in the program. I know you're going to see a lot of these coaches in this conference with low records, and these records are not all-time records. They're just with the program. And for 40 and 85, it's a step up for when they were sitting at 3 and 28, 5 and 25 seasons. I remember those, and we're not too far off from them. But yeah, Elliot, you made a good point. They were hurt a lot last year. They're kind of bringing in a whole new assistant coaching staff. Looking at my notes here, and we're going to see a few kind of people or players stepping up from the bench. A couple red shirts, like I said earlier, stepping up. So that always can be a good mix. It may take a little while to gel, but keeping familiar faces, especially red shirts, eager to play, it's always a good sign for conference play. So, yeah, I'm a little higher than I think what a lot of people expect on them, but I still see them at maybe in the middle, not quite the basement, but walking up the stairs a little bit.
Yeah, and just one more thing. I mean, I gotta shout out the ridiculousness of inner transfers with Kyle Layton coming over from Tennessee Tech. I think he started last year, started about 30 games for Tennessee Tech. He's going to transfer in conference to another OVC school. I hate that. I feel like it just comes with a lot of, we see it a lot in the Power Fours and even, in these lower level mid-majors conferences. I just think that there needs to be some sort of penalty, whether they have to sit out or something like that. Just because it's like it leads to, coaches talking to them during the season, after they played or things like that. It doesn't bode well for me when you have those inter conference transfers that are able to play the next year.
Yeah. And, on top of the injuries too, I think, Eastern Illinois, like I said, they're bringing in a whole new staff. They actually ended their season pretty decent. They won 4 of their last 6 or 7. I mean, not saying that 4 or 7's best, but hey, anything above 500 is fantastic for this team. And we all know college basketball is about streaks. So if that's an indicator, they did kind of okay at the end of the season. And they lost a lot of close games. I remember they were kind of covering machines a little bit. So they did lose. The games they lost were close. Trevor, Elliot, any final thoughts on Eastern Illinois here in the Charleston, Illinois of the Eastern Illinois block?
Yeah, Eastern Illinois is going to have a lot of size this year. I mean, so their guards are 6'2". They do have one short guy. I forget how tall, but he's under 6 foot. But you got a lot of 6'8", 6'9", 6'7" guys. They could fill up the paint clog, especially Ohio Valley. It's not like you're dealing with a bunch of incredible, gigantic 7-footers. Obviously, you'll run into some, but they're going to have a lot of size. And then, I mean, you look at the wins. His first year, they had 5 wins, 9, 14, and 12. And last year, they had a bunch of injuries, and they only lost 2 less games, and he's just been improving. So I think Eastern Illinois could be a good 7th, maybe 6th place finish in the OVC this year. I think they'll be better than last year. I think we might be able to get decent numbers on them this year just based on how last year went. And bringing in new players and some red shirts, but I'm higher on this team. I'm not high on them, but I think they're going to be better than last year for sure.
Getting a little buzz, I guess, not high, but Terry McNorris is going to be the X factor of the season. True freshman last year. Marty Simmons mentioned that he did not really want to extend the true freshman as much playing time or giving him as much of a factor, especially losing the starters that they did and seniors. So let's see if Terry McNorris takes a step up, 6'7" small forward. That's always some good lanky size, especially in the OVC, and if he can ball handle. All right. Well, yeah, it looks like we all have them kind of lower middle class of the OVC a little bit. Oh, God. The Lindenwood Lions, St. Charles, Missouri, last season, 16-17, as you can see. Middle of the pack, 500, 10-10 in the Ohio Valley. Kyle Gerdeman, 70-103, 6 years in Lindenwood, with 16 of those wins coming last season. Lindenwood was pretty bad. They were automatic fades, but they looked kind of okay in the Ohio Valley. Jadis Jones, he left freshman of the year, so they lose transfers as well. The transfer portal is the death of these low major teams, unfortunately, sometimes. I do think Lindenwood is going to have a big regression year. I will say I'll take the lead here on this one. Although they return 2 starters, I think we see a lot of teams in the OVC that's going to return same teams, playing red shirts, playing bench players, while Lindenwood has to get a fresh face, and they're taking just a step down, 100%. So I like Gerdeman. I think he's a really good coach, and they have one senior guard that averaged 12 points last year in Anais Furl. So he can lead this team, especially in conference play. There's always one playmaker that can outshine these teams. So Anais Furl can definitely lead these Lindenwood Lions in the Ohio Valley, but I have them at the bottom end. I think we saw a year of Lindenwood kind of surprising teams, but they had some dogs that actually are obviously transferred into the P5 wormhole. But let's see if Lindenwood can hang around. But I do have them. But I do like Anais Furl, and I think he has capabilities of being an not All-American, but an All Ohio Valley Team 1, Team 2.
Yeah, I mean, Cap's saying they brought in some dudes. They did, but you lose 2 guards that averaged like 25 points a game. Was it almost 6 or 7 rebounds? Or if I could find this wherever they were. Right here, 8.5 rebounds and 6 assists a game. Off of 2 guards. I mean, you keep your top 3 or 4, 2 or 3 top scoring players, so that's good, obviously. But you losing those guard play is what makes the world go around in college basketball. You're going to lose that much production out of your guards. I think that's going to really bite them in the ass, especially early in these bye games. This might be a team you could fade on some fat numbers here, but I think they'll be all right. I don't know if they'll be as good as last year. Just losing that much production. I know you retained some scores, but losing that much production in guard play, red flag for me. So I got Lindenwood finishing them probably 9-11, 8-12 or something in the OVC this year.
Well, that might not be at the end of the conference then. So you believe in Anais Furtel. Maybe I have to get on Anais Furtel. I'm all in on it.
Speaking of that, Anais Furtel, he's the only reason why he's back is because of that Diego Pavia transfer rule that granted the extra eligibility for JUCO players. So that's the reason why he's back at Lindenwood for one other season. But with Cap, I think he's talking about the 2 dudes. Dontrez Williams and Makai Cooper. Makai Cooper coming from Miami of Ohio, and then Dontrez Williams, he's coming from Abilene Christian. So it'll be interesting to see how they were kind of bench players, role players at their previous schools. But it'll be interesting to see because those conferences are a little bit step above the OVC. So we'll see how they translate down at this OVC level and see how they can make an impact. But yeah, I think, Lindenwood, I would say they're going to be maybe around that EIEIO level, maybe a little bit below. It'll be hard to see.
You mentioned Anais Furtel and the Diego Pavia situation, both gold and black schools. So that's one thing. And Abilene Christian and Miami, Ohio, great teams last year. Abilene, not as great as Miami, Ohio, but Abilene covering machines, and that's what we care about around here. And I do like Gerdeman. I think definitely can be dangerous in the Ohio Valley, but when you start 4-7, when you start 3-8 in non-conference play, it's time to win in conference play. And a lot of pieces that we're going to get into, and a lot of teams bringing back the same good pieces. Some of these rosters just outmatched Lindenwood here. Final thoughts on the Lions? Anyone?
No, I just think a little step back.
I'm with you, buddy. But yeah, I mean, they're not going to be awful. I think the Ohio Valley, and don't clip me on this, is going to be a competitive conference. Like, I think this is like everyone. Look at they're tied for 5th, obviously 500. But the teams that were at the end of the conference still won some games. They weren't just there wasn't a 2-win team in the Ohio Valley, and I think we're going to see that continue on in 2025-26 season. Oh, baby. The Little Rock Trojans. Little Rock Trojans led by Darryl Walker. Shout out Darryl Walker, one of my favorite coaches in college basketball alone, not kidding. They bust to IU one year. IU, during Christmas time, they all threw a Christmas feast or Thanksgiving. It was one of those 2 holidays. And they all did a feast in the middle of Assembly Hall. And I just think what Darryl Walker had to say was very wise, and I respect him, and I think he's a good coach. And they got some dogs in Little Rock. They got some Trojans going to battle. Let me tell you, they have it all. They have a good program. They built this program, 101 and 113, not reminiscent of their what they've built and what Darryl Walker's built. He's bringing back pieces. They've had good teams. They've been competitive constantly in the Ohio Valley. And I like their backcourt and I like their front court. So, they brought in some good pieces as well. You brought in people from, Gulf Coast State, some random community college kids, but if community college kids is averaging 20 points, I think they can pretty fare well in the OVC, especially against Southern Indiana or something like that. Braxton Bayless, good team. Kashai Neze, 2 returning starters for Little Rock, especially in Kazen Robinson. So I'm excited for this team. I think they're going to continue their dominance. They kind of fell off middle of the season last year, especially with all the hype going into the season, or end of the season. But I think they can pick that up, get it back going, and stay at the top of this conference.
It was KK Robinson that was the starter.
Yeah.
Cousin Robinson's coming in for his first year.
Wasn't there someone else that was hurt too?
Yeah. So KK, the other one was I think the other one that we're thinking of was the I forget. Let me look. I wrote it down. Tuong
Oh no, it was just him.
The guy that got suspended. Gatek.
Yeah.
The guy that got suspended for a few games in that vital kind of like down that stretch of the OVC. But yeah, KK Robinson was obviously the guy last year, tore his ACL in October. So they were without him the entire year, and they still finished tied 3rd, missing their best player. He was, top 100 player, went to Memphis and then Arkansas. I don't know if he went to Memphis, but he went to Arkansas for sure. And then he's from the Little Rock area, so he bounced back and played. So I'm excited to see him. The cool thing about that is they also brought in his 2 other brothers. The youngest brother just graduated high school. They brought him in. And then they brought in the middle brother, Cousin, the one that you had said, Cousin Robinson. He was actually, and this is why I like the OVC, is because they recruit a lot in kind of my area JUCOs. So he came from Pratt Community College, which is kind of right out here in my neck of the woods. But they also recruit at the NAIA level too, and bring a lot of players up from the NAIA ranks. And we've seen a lot of NAIA players have success in the OVC. Here, I mean, one that we can mention is Riley Minix from Morehead State. Came from Southeastern, 4-year starter at Southeastern, NAIA All-American, came in, started, led Morehead State, and now I think he plays for the Spurs on a 2-way contract. So I just like the way that they how they recruit, how they bring players from the community colleges and NAIA ranks. So that's why I like
Can
the
you
Ohio.
pronounce the defensive player of the year's name? I'm kind of scared to. So
That's the one
I got it.
Yeah, you got it.
Twangkak Gatkek.
Bingo. All right. Yes, defensive player of the year
Twantach.
for Ohio Valley. Lockdown defense for the Trojans. They're going to be in that little form they do, just poking at you.
That place gets lit too. I will say
Yeah.
that home
New
environment.
arena.
That place gets lit.
Yes.
The new arena, isn't it? Pretty sure this was them. They got the new arena last year. Pretty sure.
Are you thinking of Eastern Kentucky?
Yeah.
I thought it was Little Rock.
No, it was Eastern
Or
Kentucky.
did their gym collapse? They played at the YMCA or something.
No, that's right. Or yeah, they had like some type of outage. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Adversity, they're coming back. And then you got glue guy Christian Hughes. Look out for Christian Hughes.
Caleb Pennyfeather.
Full prediction, but I will say Little Rock is in the top 3 of mine.
Yeah. I mean, Caleb Pennyweather, early running for bench player for all names list coming up at the end of the year. Just an elite last name, but yeah, you got the 2 first team all conference players coming back, and then the defensive player of the year. Both the they're old players too. They got a lot of experience, and then Robinson's brothers. I mean, the one Kellen Robinson, 26 points a game, 4.5 boards, 5 assists, 2.5 steals. Coming into the OVC too, along with their other brothers, 15 points a game, 4.5 boards, 2.5 assists, shooting 48% from the floor, 41% from 3. I like this team. I like Little Rock this year. This team's gonna be really good, barring they stay healthy and KK Robinson doesn't have setbacks. But from everything their coach was saying, he had a good offseason, and they're taking it easy with him because they know it's a long season. They don't want to risk him getting hurt pointless early here. So, I like Little Rock this year. I think they're going to be really solid. This is one of my favorites in the OVC this year.
Yeah, I mean we also we talk about KK Robinson and all that, and we forget to mention Jonathan Lawson, first team all OVC last year, comes back as a redshirt senior, averaging 15 a game, 15, 5 and 3. So he's going to be a big piece. So they've got dudes, they've got players, like you said. If they can stay healthy, I think that they're going to be towards the top of this conference. So it'll be interesting to see how the other 2 Walker brothers, how their game translates on the Division I level. Kind of see what the amount of time they get and kind of the success that they've had at the high school and JUCO levels. See how that translates. But obviously, we've seen it's been well for KK because he just kind of goes off when he's been healthy. So, barring injuries, like you said, Trev, I think it could be a nice year for the Little Rock Trojans, and they could definitely be somebody that's dancing there in March.
And I think we see another OVC MAC battle. I know Ball State played Little Rock last year, so that's that. I'm looking forward to that. Looks like we all are high on Little Rock. Don't blame you. All right, moving on. Morehead State Eagles. Morehead State, dominant program. Kenneth Fareed, we all know, beat Louisville, beat Rick Pitino. I grew up with that stuff. What a joke of a program Morehead State is turning into in basketball right now. And Morehead Kentucky is angry.
They had a down year. They've been solid the last couple of years.
Take it away then. I'm not as high on Morehead as and I don't see progression, but go ahead. I do want to hear the state.
No, I wasn't saying that they're going to be like incredible this year. I was just saying like the last couple of years they've been solid. Maddox took over and they lost a lot of guys last year. New system, new coaching staff, new everything, and that took a hit. They only won 15 games. They won 20. They won 26 year prior, 22, 23, 23. Like they had good seasons. And then you bring in Maddox and new coaching staff. You only bring back 1 returning starter. I don't know if they really improved this year either. Not incredibly high on the Morehead State Eagles. Elite logo. You gotta give them a little third of a point in the power rankings for that logo. But
it's old.
I don't know. Yeah, I know. And if they bring this back, they could be much better than what they have on paper. But on
Right.
paper, I'm not a huge fan. You lose all your starters, so you're going to lose continuity. Now you're going to have a second year head coach coming in here. He was almost 500 last year and 500 in conference. So I mean, outside of the conference play, they didn't do terrible, but more turnover coming for this roster, second year head coach. I don't know. I think they kind of just remain where they are, maybe drop a little bit in the OVC, but not incredibly high on the Morehead
Yeah.
State Eagles this year personally.
This roster is built from scratch a little bit. I mean, you do return 2 players in George Marshall and Anur Maluk, but and bring in a couple guys, transfers from ULM, transfer from West Georgia, a couple other pieces. I look at this roster and I just don't find it built on paper stacked up against these top teams in the OVC. And I look at Morehead State kind of down there a little bit with EIU, Lindenwood, and I think it'll be interesting to see. I think the angle here is, yes, second-year coach finally gets under his belt, but he's kind of finding out what it's like to coach when the transfer portal exists and a low-end team, when people when other things are calling and other teams are calling. So I don't think it will be all that great, but it could be an improvement. They still finished 15-17, 10-10 in the Ohio Valley, did win some games. Elliot, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they brought in some pieces from, transfer from Rhode Island, Tyon Farrell, transfer from Indiana State, Josiah Legree, brought in a guy from, I think, Mount Olive, Chase Dawson, guy that averaged 20 points at the D2 level. So, it's, again, unproven what's going to happen. I just got to see it from Coach Maddox there at Morehead State. Obviously, first season was last year as a head coach. It was his first season as a head coach last year as well. And so it's just like, can he make that improvement? Can he translate and make the changes that's needed to kind of compete and get better? I don't know. I think he's got to prove it to me. I think that they're talent-wise on the rosters, there's a lot of a few other. I wouldn't more than that, but about half probably of the OVC has more returning starters. And also, I just think that they've pieced together the roster a little bit better. So, I'm kind of in this similar frame. I'm probably like more on Huff's side rather than Trev's side. I think that we've got, they're going to be kind of middle of the pack. I could see him tied 5th again, but OVC is going to be a logjam. So that between that 5th to 9th might be only like 1 or 2 games. So I could see him anywhere in between there.
Yeah, I mean, you bring in 4 freshmen. I do like that for the long term. Hopefully they can stay, build some pieces around that, and not lose it to the transfer portal. So I do like what Morehead State and John Maddox is bringing to the program, but I think it will be somewhat of a rude awakening. I could agree. Final thoughts on the head? Going once, going twice, going to Edwardsville, Illinois. SIU-Edwardsville Cougars. Oh, boy. I love this team. And did we not love this team last year? Sniped them early on. Ohio Valley Conference, 13-7, finished second. Great final game to find out who won that conference. Finished 22-12. Coach Brian Baroni, 86-103. He's built this program 6 years in. He loves SIU-Edwardsville. He breathes SIU-Edwardsville. I'm telling you, something is feeling good about this team, and I think the momentum continues to ride high in the Ohio Valley. Elliot, you lead us off.
Yeah, I like this team as well. Again, it's another one of those teams that I was pretty high on last year. I had the chance to watch both Ring Malith and Miles Thompson. They actually were brought in last year, and they were actually at Barton County Community College here in Kansas. They won the JUCO National Championship the year before. So they won the JUCO National Championship. They came in. He brought them in, ended up winning the OVC and getting to the tournament. So good for them. Fun fact, my uncle played college basketball with the coach at Barton County Community College. So it was fun watching that. And then it was fun to see them translate, put in 2 years at the JUCO level, and then make immediate impact at the Division I level. So they returned both of them, Ring Maleeth and Miles Thompson. I think they'll be getting Miles Thompson for sure will get a bigger role. Ring Maleeth will probably try to be the same kind of all-around player that he was last year. And then they did bring in a bit like a NAIA graduate transfer, CJ Hall. And like I've said, it seems like all the NAIA, big-time NAIA All-American transfers that the OVC brings in, they have success at that in that conference. So it'll be interesting to see how he fits within the system and how he fits there with SIU. I'm really high on them as well. I think they're going to be top 3 in the conference for me, as long as, everybody stays healthy. So, yeah.
SIU-Edwardsville, they just kind of bully you down low. They don't have the best backcourt. They don't have the best, point guards, but that's not necessarily kind of how they do the motion offense. They kind of just bang you out down low, play old bully ball basketball, and that's kind of what we love to see in the OVC. I'm high on this team as well. You got returning starters. Even if they didn't contribute as much, they still are team players. They come in. The players you mentioned, I'm very high on. And a couple transfers from Oral Roberts, North Central Missouri. Come on now. We love them. We love Missouri. Elliott loves Missouri. All in on this team. I can't be anything else. And I really love this coach. Coaching matters, especially in this conference. Love the bully ball from Edwardsville. Top of the ceiling for me. Trevor?
Yeah, I like SIU too. Bringing in Beck, Maleeth, and Thompson, and then they got this other kid. What's his name? Forget it's a crazy one. Arnis Sakinis. 6'11", 260.
Write that name down for the end of the season, Trevor. 2026.
Yes, it's a good one. This is gonna be one of those guys where it's like I was talking about earlier. There's not gonna be a bunch of 7-footers, but this guy's 6'11". Was he 262? Dude's gonna be great. He led the OVC in blocks last year. Now he's back again in the same system, same guys down low. Maleeth and Thompson, I think, are gonna benefit greatly if they start to use him more and start stretching those guys out to other positions in 3 or so. So I think they'll be fine. And then their guards are fairly big, 6'2". They have a 6'3", 6'4". This guy Joe Valerie too. He didn't play much last year with a broken foot. He averaged 20 and 10 in the NIA level 2 years ago, and then he didn't play much with an injury last year. But he still had 8.5 points and almost 7 boards a game. So if he stays healthy too, it's just another piece to have. SIU's got a bunch of depth on this team. They've got a bunch of size. Also, I like SIU. Them and Little Rock. I think are just going to be great games battling it out this year. So I like SIU. I think they hang around the top 3 again in this conference. It's just depending on what Little Rock and some of the others do to potentially make some noise and push them around. But I think SIU and Little Rock are going to be some must-watch games this year. That's for sure.
Quoting the Blue Ribbon book here. Thanks, guys, for that. You have opportunities. You have conversations. I tricked a few people into reaching out for me. They think I know what I'm doing here. Brian Baroni says, I'm all in. I love the attitude there. A little good comic humor. After they signed him to a 2030 extension. So he got that money. Now it's time to bring him that money and bring him to OVC as they sniffed the title last year. Oh, boy. Speaking of a hot team, but they kind of came out of nowhere. Talk about kind of losers. Really built this program, came in at D2, and now you got the Southeast Missouri State Redhawks in SEMO and Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Last season, 21-12. OVC 15-5. Brad Korn bringing back 3 starters. They got to be feeling good. They have not lost a beat whatsoever. You have, you got 7-footers on the team, 200 pounds, 7-footers, 270 footer from the Netherlands, David Adada. I mean, they're going to bang out down low, and that can compete with some of these teams that we've already mentioned that are stronger than the front court than they are in the back court. I mean, you're going to have so many good teams. Corn added a trio of perimeter players. You got Landon Blocker, 6'5" sophomore from Louisiana Tech. Got a couple NAI ads. And add this name down as Blaze Sagna, London, England. Tell them to bring me the Raptor bomb because Blaze Sagna, England rap is coming to SEMO. And then you also got your 3 returning starters, Troy Cole, Braxton Stacker. I'm excited for this team, and I think the Red Hawks will be just competing like we saw with SIU-Edwardsville again and Little Rock. Those are my top 3 teams. I'll give a little spoiler for end of conference projections. Trevor, how you feeling about SEMO?
You said SIUE, Little Rock, and SEMO are your top 3?
And for projections, yep.
And
actually,
I've got those 3.
I apologize. Those 3 are in my top 4. I won't tell you which one of those are 4th. So.
Well, these are my top 3 teams. I could see it going any way, honestly, with 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, whichever way these guys finish. I mean, let's not forget they got booted out of the NIT. They weren't allowed to play also. So now you're going to bring back, 53% of the scoring, 45% of your rebounding. So you bring back a whole lot of production, a lot of 3-year returning starters. You got those big boys down low. You got a great backcourt. Blue Ribbon's got their backcourt as a C+. I think that's disrespectful. I think they're at least a B minus at worst for the backcourt. But all around, this team is really talented. Bring back a lot of guys. Same coach. They're all pissed off they couldn't participate in the postseason last year. I think they're going to be on a mission this year. So I like SEMO this year. I think they're going to be solid. I mean, they're going to have the big boys to bang down low. You're going to have some great guard play returning back also. So I love SEMO this year. Big on SEMO.
It's how it is in the OVC. We bang out down low in the Ohio Valley. You gotta stand tall in the Valley because you're already banged out down low in the Valley.
Yeah, I mean, I think SEMO is going to be top half of the conference for sure. Brad Korn, former K-State assistant coach, came over to SEMO, has done really well there. OVC Coach of the Year last year. So I think
Bruce Weberite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you got a coach like that, players seem to play for him. He's a kind of a player's coach. I really think that they'll be able to kind of continue to figure things out just like they kind of did last year. It'll be interesting to see if they can repeat as regular season champions again. I know when I was looking, only one team has repeated as conference champions and went to the tournament back-to-back years, and that was Morehead State 2017, 2018.
It was Murray or Morehead. You're right.
Morehead
Probably
State.
right, to be honest.
It was Morehead State 2017-18, I think, or 18-19.
Murray State didn't win it back-to-back. The one you're thinking of when they were OVC, was that the team with Ja? They didn't win it the one year.
Yeah.
Oh, I stand corrected. My apologies.
But yeah, no. So
OVC knowledge, bro.
So it'll be interesting to see if they can repeat the season that they had last year. It was a lot of pressure on them though. They're in the tournament, 15-5, first in the conference, and then they were looking to get to the tournament. Lost in the OVC finals, I think. Like you had mentioned, Trev, it's kind of shitty that the NIT doesn't give automatic bids to the conference tournament winners that don't make the NCAA tournament. For the regular season conference winners now. I think that's stupid. I think they need to change it back to how it was. But yeah, I think Southeast Missouri State's going to be a name to be reckoned with here in the OVC.
Yeah, Bruce Weber never was a big fan. But I think SEMO, they got the best roster, probably pound for pound returning. And as we mentioned, good pieces added. So let's continue. Oh, gosh.
Screaming Eagles.
Go down to Evansville, Indiana, about a 3-hour drive from here, a little less, 3 hours. Last season, 10-20, 3-3-3-3. Denounced 3 minutes. Ohio Valley Conference, 5-15. They were bad. They took a step down, 5-5 going into conference play. and they just took a massive, massive step down. Saw them win, cover a crazy game in Central Michigan. I remember that. I was like, I watched that team, and I'm never betting on this again. Could not stand their roster. So maybe not returning any starters is a good thing. But I do like Stan Gerard. I like what he's done at Southern Indiana. When they came into the Division I, they fit right in. They got some good big wins. They played tough against solid teams. So I do like the pieces that Southern Indiana or what they've built there. So it will be interesting to see how they fare. But I do trust Stan Gerard and his coaching staff. And they are finally eligible for the 2025-2026 season. Trevor, how you feeling about the Screaming Eagles this year?
A lot better than last year. I know they returned nobody, but they got some great portal additions. Yeah, you can't be any worse. I mean, based on what you did last year, 5-15 in the OVC, really hard to take a step back from there. I'm not saying they're going to be like middle of the pack, really elite, but I mean, they added a lot of good guard play in this portal, and that's again key in college basketball is having guys that can handle the ball, shoot the ball, can distribute, and do what they need to do with it without turning it over. So I like what they added there. They're full D1 status now too, so I think that's a little bit of pep in their step too, knowing that they have scholarships and whatnot to offer finally to guys. So I think they'll be good. Do I think they'll be great? Do I think they'll be average? Maybe not, but they're going to be better than 5-15. I think they can improve to like 8 wins, 9 wins potentially in the OVC. It's going to be tough with those 3 powerhouses, my 3 powerhouses up top, but I still think this is a team that's vastly improved from last year, especially in the guard play department, which is, I think, the most important in basketball. Those guys handle the ball the most, and if they're not going to be turning it over, they can shoot, they can distribute. It's going to be dangerous. So I think this is going to be a much improved team for Southern Indiana standards from what they did last year. So like Southern Indiana this year, don't love them.
So you're high on Southern Indiana. Okay.
Well, higher than last year.
Yeah, I mean a step up from 11th, I guess. So
yes.
You got to step up.
This could be. I think it's ceiling with a magical season 7th. 7th is the highest they could finish. I think more realistically is like 9th, maybe 8th.
Okay. Elliot.
Yeah, so as you guys said, they completely basically just revamped their entire roster. They brought in I think 3 returners, 12 new faces. So they're kind of basically just revamping the entire thing.
Just gut it all.
Obviously,
just gut the house. Just take it all out. Yeah.
I think the fact that they got the Division I status really changed their recruiting kind of process and what they were thinking of doing, because it looked like they were kind of building with some freshmen to kind of help bring them up through the system and then have them ready to go in a couple of years as a D1. And then they obviously just flip the script as they have 0 freshmen on the roster this year. They bring in 3 kind of big time guards for them, an all SWAC guard and Trey Thomas, the UTEP transfer, Ahmad Bynum, and then Ismail Habib from Portland State. I also have a couple intra transfers that I'm not too keen on, obviously, as I discussed earlier, but they're very guard heavy. So it will be interesting we've talked a lot of the other OVC teams being more front court heavy versus the Southern Indiana and a Little Rock, say, being more backcourt heavy. So those will be interesting matchups to kind of watch for. I think that the problem with Southern Indiana is they don't have a big man rim protector like Little Rock does, and I think that's maybe where they'll kind of maybe struggle.
That's where you're wrong. Got you on that? They just brought in a Cal transfer. A Cal transfer. That's a P5. That's a P5 guy, 6'11". I mean, that's a big asset, especially when you got guys at SEMO 7 foot.
Yeah, Devin Curtis.
You got an Appalachian State senior.
Yeah.
State Benezege. Physical specimen, as Stan Gerard signs off on that. 2 great programs coming to the Ohio Valley.
Yeah, I mean, it's the era of the transfer portal. I mean, it could be really good for them, bringing in 13 guys and trying to mesh them, or it could be just complete shit. You never know how a team's going to mesh. You catch lightning in a bottle. They might catch lightning in a bottle and have a really good season. But I think the lack of the depth of the front court is really going to hurt them in the OVC, even if they do have good pieces at the guard play.
Yeah, I could see that. Especially, I don't know. I think we see a lack of backcourt in the Ohio Valley, and I think that's what we're seeing amongst these teams and learning more about them. And what my research has been far on the Ohio Valley and the knowledge that we have, and I'm very thankful. This is not an ad, but shout out to all the knowledge, all the people, the pundits, all these lackluster pundits, all focused on anything. We got some good pundits out here. Chop up information. So shout out everybody. Appreciate that. Doing the research here. It's been fun on Twitter. It's been fun on all socials. Blue Ribbon book feels like the Phil Steele book of college football. So it's definitely helped out the research a little bit. Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to go against it, and I think I like their front court. We'll see how they fare, but they do have to go against a ton of better front courts in the Ohio Valley. So Southern Indiana, stay in the South. Nashville, Tennessee, go down on Broadway to Tennessee State last season, 17-16. They definitely overperformed, I would say. They did bring back 3 returning starters and first-year coach Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith, 2011 champion with Brian Zobek. I don't know why I mentioned Brian Zobek first. I think it's because he got screened, because all I can remember is Gordon Hayward. And Zobek, yeah. Anyway, Zobek, Singler, Nolan Smith, Gerald Henderson. Great team. We all knew Nolan Smith, assistant at Duke. Now he goes to first-year coach here at Tennessee State, trying to take over that program. 3 running starters. They definitely finished well, tied for third in the MAC, 12-8 in the OVC, 17-16, 6-4 in non-conference play. You got to like how Tennessee State performed, and you got to imagine that they're riding this momentum high into the season. And let's see how Nolan Smith fares as a first-year coach in the Ohio Valley. I like this Tennessee State team. This is a sleeper, and maybe not even a sleeper pick. You kind of feel the juice of it all, riding high with Nolan Smith coming in. I just like this vibe. Obviously, it's not on a scale of like what we've seen in years past or other sports. But they got some dogs, man. And I think this is a sneaky pick. And you mentioned that top 4. Maybe we see them sneaking in there. I'm really high on this Tennessee State team.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is the team that kind of shocked some people. It's not like they had a bad year last year, but 10 returners coming back, 4 your top scorers, 3 your top scorers, whatever.
You've been under Mike Krzyzewski.
Yep. You got Nolan Smith. I think the one blemish on his coaching career was that he was at Louisville with Kenny Payne. Other than that, I think he's been pretty fine in his stops. You bring in Mr. Basketball, Tennessee's Mr. Basketball, into the roster as a freshman. You got 2 freshman guards, but that one guard they have, that Harper kid, what it was saying, he went like 20 plus, 3 times, and he had 28 points against Southern Indiana last year. Certified bucket getter, and that was his first year out of D2. So now he's got a whole another year under his belt. You got Nolan Smith coming in here, 10 returners. Your top scorers are back. You bring in Mr. Basketball from Tennessee. This team's going to be good. I don't know if they'll be as good as those other 3 that I like, but I think Tennessee can be. If there's a dark horse team that can just run and win the OVC, I think this is the team right here, Tennessee State. A lot of juice in this program, a lot of returners. I think it's going to be a solid squad.
Yeah, I think that the only downfall for Nolan Smith that he had is he kind of, Penny Collins left and took that job for the Grizzlies, like right in like end of June, start of July, right when like the recruiting season was open. So it just kind of sucks that his first kind of season as a first time head coach, he wasn't able to kind of get that full recruiting cycle that you would want as a head coach, especially in today's transfer portal era. But like you said, he brought in Mr. Tennessee basketball, even regardless because of that. Didn't really have to recruit as much, as you said, with the 10 returners. 3 of their top 4 scorers from last year are coming back. So yeah, anytime that you have that coaching tree of Krzyzewski, and you can, you need to ask questions. Who else in the OVC can phone up Coach Krzyzewski and be like, hey, what would you do here, here, and here? Who's going to have that knowledge? And he's like one of the only guys, probably the only guy that's able to have that knowledge. So I really think that he wants, he's obviously competitive in nature, just playing there at Duke for Coach K and then being in the NBA. So I think he's going to bring the knowledge that he's learned throughout the years. And I think Tennessee State could really shock, I wouldn't say shock some people since they were tied 3rd last year, but I think that they can repeat and kind of provide a similar path to what they did last year and be at the top of the conference.
Yeah.
Not to mention that they have that guard, that Spikes kid, 2'10", 6'2", bowling ball guard.
Who is Jordair Jet on St. Louis? Remember him? Or was that who was that? Oh man, yeah, Des Wells in Maryland. Remember him?
Des Wells.
Oh yeah, love a good bowling ball at point guard. Yeah, I'm high on this Tennessee State team. Stay tuned for the projections. And there is something about, like we said, Mike K. and Elliott made a great point. He didn't have a chance to recruit. Yes, but this team has juice. People want to go to Nashville. Nashville is a destination. I know Tennessee State. Know Nashville very well. Tennessee State isn't, whatever. It ain't far to get to where you want to go in Nashville. And recruits are going to love that. Recruits are going to eat that up. And maybe we see some type of NIL money. But let's say this with Nolan Smith. He's recognizable, and Elliott made a good point that about recruiting, but I think he's going to be able to be a great recruiter for sure. And he's recognizable. You see him in 2011. You see him in the early age. These kids were born in 2000, whatever, but they grew up with Nolan Smith, whatever. Not 2000, 2002, 2003, 04. You may remember Nolan Smith. You're not really going to remember as much. I'm blanking on a team. I hate to say Juan Dixon because he's a national champion. A player like that played in that era, you're not familiar with it. It's still respectable.
Adam Morrison
being the recognizable. I would be interested to see how Adam Morrison would coach a college basketball team. Dear Lord, we're gonna have a what if show down the road. That'd be a hilarious one. Very high on Tennessee State, all the boys. Tennessee Tech. What the heck? Cookeville, Tennessee. Rivals, Tennessee State versus Tennessee Tech. The Golden Eagles do love that logo, love the color scheme. Tied for 5th last year, but one returning starter. Love John Pelfrey. John Pelfrey's a great coach. John Pelfrey at Kentucky, coached from Kentucky, coached 15 years in this league, only 6 years at Tennessee Tech. But he's kind of brought this program somewhat back a little bit. And he's pretty high on this team. He's happy with it being physical, and physicality is what we like in the OVC, as we keep talking about. It's a theme here. Banging out in the front court, banging out in the back is higher regard than banging in the back court. And I think Tennessee Tech actually brought back decent amount of, or didn't bring back all their starters, but they kept some pieces and bringing back in Jawan Nichols, 6'8", 220 point guard, forward, kind of all over the place there. So I think I'm high on this team a little. I mean, definitely in the cellar dwellers amongst the worst, but they have a chance to make some noise. They won games last year. Pelfrey's a good coach. Good coaches win, like I mentioned. Trevor, how you feeling?
Yeah, I like the team. I don't love the team. This roster kind of it's not the same, but it gives me like Northwestern State vibes from like 2 years ago where they brought in like the all JUCO class, the all Americans. It was just like a loaded roster of JUCOs and transfers, and it didn't pan out too well. I like them. They got great size. I'll give them that. They have more guys that can shoot than last year. Last year was pretty rough. In the shooting department, they were really good defensively and with size. But I think this size, they have a little bit better shooting. But I don't think they have a whole lot to contend and jump up in the OVC here. This is going to be one of my bottom 2 or 3 teams in the OVC this year. They retain some of these guys. I think next year can be a lot better for them. But right now, you got a lot of JUCO and transfers coming in from other levels. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to acclimate to this, even though it is the OVC. That's still a whole different game than playing at the D2 and JUCO levels. So I like them. I don't love them. I think there's going to be definitely spots where they can pop up and catch teams, spring some upsets, but I don't think they're going to be anything you should really have to worry about too much in the OVC of making a big run or you got to get worried about when they're coming into town.
And you got to love that Pelfrey brings in anyone from the MAC, Brandon Muntu from Western Michigan, good Canadian ball player, and then you bring in a freshman from Old Dominion. I mean, Old Dominion, if I'm a player, I'd have ran from that program as well. That was a nightmare last year. But no, actually, that's not true. I dig my freaking feet in the ground. But Malik Ferguson, Tennessee Tech from Georgia State, so a lot of these guys didn't get a chance to shine, but they have a chance to shine here as we're going to see some playing time from these transfers. Elliot, what the Tech?
I don't have to go too much into it, but they return only 3 scholarship players from last year's team. That's 15 and 17. They obviously had ridiculous woes on the defensive rebounding, just rebounding front in general. So what did he try to do? He tried to bring in big, physical, athletic pieces that can kind of right the wrongs of the team from last year. Don't necessarily think it's going to work, but we'll see.
All right. Just looking at my notes here. Sorry. Okay, UT Martin. Ugh, can't stand this team. And maybe that's not an indicator. They just hate betting on this team. Why would we ever do that? Last season, 14-19, 9-11. Sorry. In the OVC, 8th. Coach Jeremy Schulman, first year was last season, so he's building some stuff. He's keeping starters, 3 returning starters. Elliot, you went last time. Take it away, my friend.
Yeah, last season they were probably one of the least experienced teams in all of Division I. So the fact that they're able to bring back 3 of their starters, I think that they can definitely possibly take a small step up, albeit a very small step here in the OVC. I think, he's got 5 returning players that played significant minutes.
No. I hate this team. I'm so down on this team.
You are?
So down on this team. Returning starters is great, but just watched that team last year, and I couldn't get behind what they were playing basketball with. But, you look at it, you finish 8th out of 11 teams, and you're 9-11.
I know, and that's where I was saying, it's from 4 to 9, 4 to 9, 4 to 10 is pretty much like it's all jumbled up here in the OVC usually.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah,
they were young last year too. You return guys, so that's cool. But then they also have 7 freshmen still, so you're gonna have 3-4 returners, and then a lot of freshmen to come in and back them up. I'm not high on this team either. This is going to be another rough year for UT Martin. Next year, potentially, if they retain these guys, where you're going to have them in the program for 2-3 years now, and they're getting acclimated, I think it'll be different. But they're just way too young and inexperienced right now. No faith in UT Martin. I got them finishing like potentially last in the conference. I have no faith in this team.
All right. I love that. And I feel like we were somewhat on agreement there. No faith in that. Watching that was last year. But I do have faith in this team. Let's go, Leathernecks. Woo! You know I love betting on this team, especially early in the season. They play that spread motion basketball, and that's what Chad Boudreaux loves around here. 2 years ago, they were a pretty good team. Last year, they just fell flat on their face. But what do you see there? 0 returning starters after finishing 12-19, and you're in Western Illinois. But first-year head coach almost goes to the tournament and definitely makes a run in the Ohio Valley, makes a name. And you bring in all these new pieces. So he picks up a guy named Lucas Lorenzen. Lucas Lorenzen, how many points did he average? 22.7, 5.7, 6'4", 215-pound junior. Immediate pickup. NAIA, I know, is 20 points the NAIA, but that goes a long way in the Ohio Valley. I love all the pieces that they've picked up, and we can go ahead and name all the alphabet soup and name everything there. But bringing in pieces from good programs, other Illinois programs as well, and good coaches win. I think we see a drastic step up. I don't have the exact, but I think they finished last. Or no,
second to last.
EIU last. Thank you. EIU is 5-15, 6-14, but I think we see a drastic step up, and we see them flirt in contention and beat some of these teams that we love and have mentioned in the top 3, just based on Boudreaux's system. Give me the Leathernecks to be surprise team as well, along with Tennessee State. As much as you can say they were a surprise team, finishing 3rd last year. But yeah, love the Leathernecks here. I'm actually very high on them.
I don't hate them, but I think they'll be all right. Like the coach even said it. They didn't have any physicality last year, and they addressed it. They got a lot of big guys, but they have a shit ton of transfers. So now you got to deal with all that. You got to figure out getting acclimated with each other, chemistry, this whole – I think it'll be rough early. I think they'll be all right just due to their physicality, being able to kind of just control the tempo and dictate how they want to play in some of these games. But I think early in the year it's going to be rough for them, real rough. But I like nowhere near loving them. I don't think I'm as high as you, clearly, but I think this team will be all right. I think they can be better than 6-14 potentially, but I also won't be shocked with a 5-15, 6-14 OVC conference play again with them, just due to all their transfers and just how kind of top heavy this OVC is looking this year. So I think they could take a little step forward, but I also won't be shocked if they take a little step back either.
And we don't have full schedules here. Like I tried to look up a schedule for this, and we don't have non-con. We definitely have conference schedules, but non-con is not scheduled completely for all these teams. So at least they're not updated for us to know. But we do know some of their buy-in games, of course. So you got to expect a couple of those losses. But they always play in a non-con tournament or one of those freaking PLEs, whatever they're called. But yeah, I'm going to bet on Western Illinois. I always bet on them early, and then I tail off, see how they do in the OVC, because they do always flop out. But Boudreaux brings something different. Elliot? Finish?
Yeah. I mean, I think bringing in Lucas Lorenzen is going to be a big piece for them. I think he's going to be your kind of Riley Minix type, not necessarily as effective as that. He's not, like that, but he's going to be one of those guys that I think you're going to see him average 15 to 18 points in the OVC, have really good success after being there at Dort, there in Iowa. So yeah, I think, I'm kind of right on the line with you, Huff. I think it's one of those things where it's kind of like this teeter-totter where they jumped on board. We're one of the favorites there in 23-24, kind of came back and kind of, took a step back last year. But I think he's going to figure it out this year. Obviously, he brought in the pieces to kind of be successful. I know one of his issues was, he was kind of, they had kind of a new roster. And so they actually failed to even make the postseason play. So I think that that they're going to be able to take a step up. I think they definitely are in the finish in the top 8 and give themselves a chance to dance.
Top eight.
top
eight.
eight, chance
Top
to dance.
Top five.
Top eight, chance to dance. And in the OVC, I mean, last year it was 1 versus 2, but as history states, OVC, man,
they have one of those stupid tournaments.
Wild.
They got the tough tournament though. They got the tough tournament for lower teams.
This will be interesting. I'm not high on the weather next. You guys are, so
we got a shout out from within. This is where the work gets put in. Gonna watch the replay. Hashtag for the boys from within. Thank you. $4.99. Appreciate you. I appreciate that. $5. Top $5 for Western Illinois. He knows. Thanks for watching the replay. Yeah, that's what these are for. Watch the replay. Like I said, we're gonna get better. Slides are gonna get better. I made these in 5 minutes. But we'll get better at this, and we'll keep going. We got a lot of updates to give. Good off season was for us. But let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get into it. Into our Ohio Valley predictions.
Megan can't be roasting us on graphics. Well, we're gonna evolve. We're gonna evolve, and we're gonna get better.
We'll pay someone to do graphics. Yes. Let's get into it. We just talked Ohio Valley. Now we're going to get into Patriot League. 10 teams. We just did 11. We did it in like 40 minutes. We started in like 20 minutes. That wasn't too bad. But yeah, replays are 4. So, okay. Does anyone want to go first?
I'll go first. All right. My one, making a step up from last year, Little Rock.
What?
Gonna take the number 1. Yep. Little Rock. Gonna win the OVC.
Bottom to top, my guy.
Oh, we're going bottom. Whoopsies. Never mind.
Oh, no. Yeah. Wait, yeah. We're going bottom up, and I think should we all do 11? Should we all do it together? 11 onward. What do you think? I mean, Jack can decide too. But
So let's do that. Bottom, Western Illinois.
what?
Damn.
There's too much continuity and chemistry you got to build.
What? No. No. That's what the system is now. Okay. Well, whatever. We got to move on. We'll argue later.
We'll find out.
Go ahead, Elliot.
Number 11.
I have mine. You know what? If you need to decide, UT Martin. That roster's trash. I don't want to watch UT Martin. And I just don't like. I don't like anything that they've brought in. So
I'm gonna go.
Oh, I forgot about UT Martin. All right, UT Martin's my bottom.
I'm going Lindenwood.
Lindenwood. Okay. All right, Lindenwood. Yeah. Well, okay. So we got Lindenwood, UT Martin. I'll go ahead. 10th is Lindenwood for me. Like I said, they got good. They got a high player. I think that could be an All-American, or like I said, a All Ohio Valley team player. But one can't do it all. But they definitely can win and sneak some games. But Lindenwood gets 10th, and they finish like a 7-13, 8-12. Like, it's not awful. UT Martin will be 6-14 though. Again, they're horrible. Trevor, who's your 10th?
Western Illinois.
Disrespect. The disrespect.
Right. Tip to the cap. Trevor, you want to take the 9th as well?
Well, I got to give my 10th, bro.
Oh, yeah. You haven't given your 10th? Oh, no, I thought you said Lindenwood. Oh, that was that 11th.
What? Lindenwood was 11 for me.
Okay, who's your 10th? Sorry.
10 for me is going to be Southern Indiana.
Ugh. Heavily disagree again. Okay, Trevor, what did you do? So we don't get confused.
Southern Indiana.
Over to Elliot, to you. Who's your 9th selection in the Ohio Valley?
Southern Indiana.
Okay. Mine will be Tennessee Tech. I like Tennessee. Actually, I apologize. I have Tennessee Tech 8th, so that's a spoiler. 9th is EIU. I like what they can. I think it's an improvement on last year, but it still can only get them 9th as a ceiling. 8th is my Tennessee Tech, so that's my spoiler. Elliot, who's your 9th?
9th, I'm going to go Tennessee Tech.
All right. Go ahead and give your 8th as well. Please give it.
8th, I'm going to go Morehead State.
Morehead State. All right. I like it. Trevor?
Morehead State for me as well.
All right. Trevor, go ahead and give your 7th.
7th is going to be the one and only Morehead, or I just said Morehead State. Lindenwood. Sorry.
All right. High on Lindenwood, Trevor. All right. Okay.
I think they'll be all right. I think they'll be better.
Hey,
Not great, but they'll be better.
You did say that. Go back to the show. Feel free to go back. Nose goes on doing timestamps for YouTube. Oh, Elliot. Yeah, that's a good task for Elliot, actually. I like that. Elliot, that's your task. All right. Yeah, I'm in. All right. Elliot,
Have fun on Fridays.
Go back to Lindenwood. Yeah, have fun on Fridays. We won't do timestamps Fridays. Yeah, do that like 6 a.m. That's hilarious. All right. Go back and watch the replay for the Lindenwood scheme. All right, Trevor, who's your 6th? Or Elliot, did you give your 7th?
No.
Go ahead.
So 7, I'm going.
Give your 7th.
What?
No? Yeah, I thought you did give your 7th. No.
No, I gave my 9 and then my 8.
All right. Yeah, you're right. Give your 7th.
7, I'm going to go UT Martin.
Okay, higher on UT Martin. All right. 7th is Morehead State for me. I like what they bring to the table. Second-year coach coming together. I think they get some good wins, but just a tad step back. Trevor, who's number 6?
Tennessee Tech.
All right, high on.
I'm sorry, Eastern Illinois. Eastern Illinois. I forgot.
Eastern Illinois. Wow.
5,
All right.
5.
Yeah.
I like what they brought back.
All right, number 6 we're kind of all over the place. I like it. We did have some different takes. And we also just gave some roster opinions as well, too. Cannabis Capper and From Within, they like Lindenwood. Yeah, Bertel is going to be a beast. Elliot, who's your number 6 in the Ohio Valley?
Eastern Illinois.
Mine's going to be Southern Indiana. I think that's a step of improvement. Coaches get it done, and they do well. All right, I think we do 5 and 4, and then we just share our top 3 in order, 3, 2, 1, once we get there. So, all right, Trevor, who's number 5? Top 5.
Tennessee Tech.
Wow.
And my number 4, I'm going to deviate a hair, but I am going to go SIU-E as my number 4.
Okay, SIU-Edwardsville. I like they're still up there. Elliot, who's number 54 for you?
Let's see. 5, I'm going to go Western Illinois.
I love it. All right, number 5 for me.
Well, I got to go my 4, right?
Yes, you're right. You're right. I just like skipping you.
My number 4, I'm actually going to go with SEMO, Southeast Missouri State.
Yep, and we're flipped. So hot take for me, I'm going to go 5 SEMO. I know they bring a lot of pieces, but sometimes getting ahead of the wheel is not always the best thing. Get a little comfortable, and I sense some of that. I do trust SEMO and their coach, but 5, and I think 5th in the Ohio Valley is still a good record. 4 for me is going to be the Leathernecks of Western Illinois. Western Illinois, big step up. Trevor, you can keep them down there in the cellar. They're stepping up to the middle floor. Don't you worry. Above 500, Western Illinois. They're back. All right, grand finale. Trevor, give me your top 3 from third up for the Ohio Valley, and then we got to get on to the Patriot League.
Yep, Tennessee State, SEMO, and Little Rock.
Okay, I like it. Elliot.
So you got Little Rock winning?
Yeah.
This is the regular season standings. We never know about conference tournament. This is regular season.
Oh yeah, I think a hot take. I think SEMO is going to get fourth, or be like fourth, fifth, something like that, and they possibly win the conference tournament. They do a flip of what happened last year. I am going to go SIU Edward or no. Wait, am I going 1, 2, 3 or 3, 2, 1?
3,
You're
2,
going
1.
3, 2, 1. What the hell? Wrong.
3,
Who
2,
cares
1.
about third if you announce first?
All right, so I'm going to go 3. I'm going to go with Little Rock.
All right.
Actually, what I'm going to do this is a sharp play. Razor blade sharp. I'm going tied 2 Little Rock, Tennessee State.
Okay.
And then I got SIU-Edwardsville winning.
I went back and forth on that for sure. I went back and forth on these, but third, I'm going to go Tennessee State. Nolan Smith, I like what they bring. I think they get all the way up and definitely flirt with the first place in the regular season, but they're going to make some noise this year. And then also, second for me, going to be SIU-Edwardsville. I think they're going to lead the Ohio Valley the entire time and then fall off. And it's going to be a different story for Little Rock. Little Rock's just going to be kind of hanging up there. But give me Darrell Walker and the Little Rock Trojans to get it done and win the regular season for the Ohio Valley Conference. So Little Rock, SIU-Edwardsville, Tennessee State, Western Illinois, SEMO, Southern Indiana, Morehead State, Tennessee Tech, Eastern Illinois, Lindenwood, and UT Martin for me. So that is that with the Ohio Valley Conference. Any final words before we move on?
No, should be fun.
All right. The Patriot League. Oh, I just pulled up. Right on, Paige. Thank you. So I pulled up the Patriot League website, and they're just speaking to me, if you heard that. So that's the Patriot League website. Thanks, Paige Messier, for your top 3 plays for the Patriot League. Okay. The Patriot League. Remember, we do these alphabetically. Now we're going to go ahead and move on and give our projections as well. So the American Eagles. Someone else want to take it away? I have to use the restroom.
I got it. All right. Matt Rogers, gone. Big loss. They lost him in the final game. Really bit him in the ass. You return one of your top starters. You lose 4 of your top 7 scorers, and you have 7 freshmen. Now I'll give them the 7 freshmen. Very impressive. 16 points a game, 7 boards, 13.5 points a game, 20 points a game. They got a 6'4" guy. He's really good offensively and defensively. His numbers don't pop, but he's a glue guy. They're saying they got another 6'8" guy, another 6'9" guy, really good on defense. Lost a lot. You lost a lot of your scoring. You lost your best player. I think he was like the conference player of the year or something, Matt Rogers. And now you bring in a shitload of freshmen. I think they have the talent to be good. I think it'll take a little bit. But I think they're going to be rough to start the year. I think they're going to be a little rough. You got a lot of freshmen coming in that are really good out in the ball, can score. They can also distribute, but a lot of high scoring freshmen coming in. I think it's going to take some time to adjust, but I think American will be fine. But definitely a step back from last year, maybe even 2 steps back in this conference.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to replace a guy like Matt Rogers, who basically single-handedly won them 3 games down the stretch. I mean, I could think about, against that Lafayette, they're at home. I think he scored 3 straight possessions to get the win for them. I think, it's before I jump into American, it's pretty interesting, the Patriot OVC, with the coaching carousel. We only have 1 new coach in each conference. So, they've retained a lot of their head coaches from last year, and we'll talk about the coaching change for one of the teams here. Here in the Patriot League later, but I just think that's interesting that there's only been one coaching change in each of the conferences, the first two conferences that we talk about. But yeah, I think, Dwayne Simpkins last year, 22-13, tied first in the Patriot League. They ended Colgate's streak. Colgate was a wagon. Now are they a wagon? Maybe. One returning starter, according to Huffer. And I don't think that they're going to be at the very top of the conference like they were last year. However, they're not, with Dwayne Simpkins as coach. I really like him as a coach. I think he's going to be a good recruiter. He brought in a guy from his alma mater at DeMatha Catholic there in Maryland, who I think is going to be an immediate impact player. And so I really think that they'll be competitive for sure, but they're not going to be top tier of the conference like they were last year.
Yeah, I like the pieces they got. Jackson Mayo, Matt Mayock, Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy's the guy who played at the LA Fitness. I'm cooked. I think I like what they brought in though. I mean, you can't deny American's program itself. They've always been a stellar program. Programs matter, and they're a force to be reckoned with always in the Patriot League. And I think we see a very top. I know there's only 10 teams. Sometimes there was like 8 or 9 when we were growing up, but it's been a top-heavy league for quite some time. So, and American's always been at least somewhat up there, and I like everything that you guys mentioned. So, I'm with you guys. Go America.
Fuck yeah.
Please watch your language. No, I'm just kidding. All right, Army Black Knights, West Point, New York. Last season, 17-16, they just spread the floor. They're dominant. Kevin Kuick, 27-38. One returning starter for Army. Is this going to be a step-down year or a letdown year?
Letdown.
The troops?
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing that they were doing really good. Then Josh Scovins broke his hand, and then they ended up losing the last 4 or 5 games by 24 points. Scovins, by the way, he ended up transferring to Davidson, so they no longer have him, who was a second man piece with him and Jalen Rucker last year. They were kind of a 2-man show. They're very, very young. I'm not very high on Army. I think they return basically one guy that played significant minutes, Ryan Curry. Other than that, they don't really have a lot of people that played
Kevin McCarthy.
Any significant minutes. So it's one of those things where they got 5 upperclassmen, 13 underclassmen, lowerclassmen, however you want to say it. I'm not very high on them this year. I think they're going to be kind of one of the bottom dwellers. A little foreshadowing. They're going to be one of the bottom dwellers in the Patriot League here.
Yeah, I mean,
I might be a little still upset that Army beat K-State last weekend, so it might be a bias that I just don't really like Army right now. But I'm not really
Army
very high on them.
Harris.
I love supporting the troops in Army, but right now,
sounds like you don't.
Blood for Army athletics.
Well, I'll be damned on that. Army comes into K-State, dominates them. Just out Ted offensive, blitz, Krieg, bop on them. What's going on in K-State? Holy cow. That's a whole other story. Army, that's what they do. They come in, they kind of grind you out a little bit, especially if you're IU. I think this is a step back for Army, 100%, but for based on last year. But they can always make noise in the Patriot League, and you never know. It's the Army, man. The freaking Army.
Freaking Army.
Trev?
Yeah, Army, not high on this team. I want to fade the shit out of this team early in the year. Other than Curry, other than the Curry, you don't have much. You don't have much size, which it's Army, so that's to be expected. But not much size is going to be on the floor. You lost a lot of your scoring and starters from last year. Now you bring it back. They like to play fast, and you're going to have one guy that's been in this system that's returning on the starting floor. Not much size. You play fast. You lost a lot of your scoring. I think it's going to be an ugly start to the year for them. A lot of turnovers, a lot of struggle to score. I mean, they're not going to have size to compete in a lot of these bye games and whatnot too. So this is the team I have circled to fade early and often in the season. I'm not high on Army whatsoever this year.
Thanks from within. We appreciate you. These guys, Terrace, I'm supporting the troops. Boston, grind you out, Boston. Oh yeah, whoa, yeah, Boston. 16-16, just a solid 500, but they did have a above 500 record in the Patriot League, returning 3 starters this year. And Joe Jones has been to the NCAA tournament. He had a bad couple rosters for this, and now this year they bring back the pieces. And talk about grind you out. I love a good Boston under. They have the name in them, BU, because PU, whatever the heck it is, it's bad to watch Boston play basketball. But that's how they win these games. They just beat the crap out of you. They grind you down. They play 27-second possessions. They constantly they know what they're doing, and they can get boards. They always have a decent front court, and they continuously will. Although it's maybe taken a step back. It's what the pundits are saying, but I can't buy into that, especially with how Joe Jones' systems work. And I'm actually kind of high on this Boston team. They did finish tied for third, surprisingly, after taking a massive leap and kind of sucking. And when they were in the A East, they were a little better, but they're finding their gel in this conference, and I think Boston has a chance to definitely make a name for themselves and be at the top and win their conference tournament this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Boston. They're returning 3, they lost 2, and they're returning 8 rotational guys, 8 guys that were playing last year too. So they've got a good returning core coming back here. They were pretty ugly defensively and offensively a bit. I mean, they 342 out of 364 teams in turnovers last year, 332 out of 364 in 3-point defense. Absolutely ugly. And the coach did say, Mr. Jones did say they're going to focus on playing faster this year too. So if their 3-point defense is better, you can force some turnovers, get rebounds. You're going to play faster, and you're not going to turn it over. I think there's a team that could take a significant step. You got a lot of returning guys too. I'm with you. I'm high on this Boston team. I think they'll be really good in the Patriots.
A snail saying he's going to play faster is a turtle's pace.
Watch out for those.
Oh, I know, but it can't be any slower. If they got to improve on 3-point and the turnovers, like you can't be that bad.
3 games anymore. No automatic unders potentially. We'll have to look into that.
Watch out for
we can catch some nice numbers for the overs.
Oh, I love taking live Boston unders. Oh, I love taking live Boston unders. Oh.
Watch out though. BU unders might be not a thing this year. They're gonna ramp up.
Arbin, man. I'm Arbin, man. I'm gonna go into Twitter space. I'm Arbin. Yep, Arbin. I'm Arbin in Boston. Elliot, you got anything?
Yeah, I like BU. I like the Kyron Alexander and Michael McNair, both solid pieces that they had last year. They both entered the portal, and luckily, sometimes it's addition by subtraction, and sometimes it's addition by just staying put. And they were able to just kind of keep them. They kind of came out of the transfer portal pretty early. They were able to keep them, which I think is a big win for Coach Joe Jones there. They also have another guy, Asmar Abdullah, who I think is going to take a kind of a significant leap up in terms of he was on the All-Patriot freshman team last year. I think he can really kind of make some noise this year, especially from the 3-point line. He's a very good 3-point shooter, and I think that all eyes are going to be on Kyron Alexander and Michael McNair. I looked at for those two to kind of lead it, but it could be like kind of a three-headed dragon with those guys. And I really think that Boston could do some damage. I mean, it's kind of hard to say, that they take a huge step because they were tied third. So it's like you take a huge step, you're talking about them winning it. But I think they're going to be right there in that conversation coming down the stretch. Going to be, one or two possessions goes their way can kind of decide whether they're going to be first, second, or fourth.
All right. Giving away his projections. I like it. A little sneaky. I like getting a little sneak peek. I love it. I love the sneak peek. I'll take this one. Got a cousin that went to Bucknell. Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. Last season, 18-15. 9 overtimes last season. 9. If you bet every overtime, you bet $10 on an overtime, you'd be up money no matter they played 34 games. That's an incredible stat. You bet on the overtime pre-flop. Matter of fact, it got so bad, they went down to like plus 800 overtimes pre-tip. That's absurd. Uh-oh, we lost Trevor?
Yeah, I think he backed out for just a second. Problem is not only did they play 9 overtime games, but the problem is they only won 4 of them. 4 and 5 in overtime.
I know. I was on the wrong side of a few, and I hit Richmond. I think Richmond won. Was one of them. But I like this Bucknell team. They bring in a solid front court. They keep a solid front court. I think they're beefing up down low, preparing to win down low. And I think the senior Ruat Bicek, 8.8 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game last year. But I think it's time for him to take a jump at 6'9" senior. He's an absolute freak athlete, and I think he's a big step in the potential to win a surprise Patriot League one year. But newcomer of the year, Amon Dorez as well, freshman, going to start. True freshman coming in for Bucknell. So that'll be nice to see them getting a familiar face and kind of starting to lay out the foundation with John Griffin's second year as he kind of takes over Bucknell. And Bucknell was a solid piece in the early 2000s. Kind of took a little step back, but this program's getting built right back up under John Griffin, and I like the coach. And I'm going to take their front court here, and definitely the Bisons are in my top 3, and they're not third.
If Bucknell upsetting KU in the NCAA tournament back in the day in those early 2000s. But yeah, no, I mean, I think the biggest thing that you kind of had left off was Noah Williamson transferring. Their 7-footer, point forward kind of a guy transferring from Bucknell to Alabama. So that's going to be a large hole to fill. However, I think you do bring up a good point with Amon Dorez, the guy that played German Pro B League last year. I think that they're looking for him to kind of fill that piece that was left with Williamson. But I think an issue that they're going to possibly have is they also are without their other first all league guy, the guard. I can't remember his name.
It is Josh Bosco.
Yeah. So he was a senior and graduated. So they're without their top 2 returning scorers. So I am kind of not necessarily in the same realm of being high on Bucknell or as high on Bucknell. I think they're a proud program. I think they do have the talent. Obviously, they brought in some good pieces and some good talent. But I can't quite say they're in my top 3.
Yeah, no, they're borderline top for me, but I'm not too high on them. Again, you lost Williamson and Brosco. That's, almost 30 points a game you lost, maybe even a little more. They did get that freshman. You guys already talked about it. And then, but they're ball handlers, the primary ball handlers, 5'10" and 5'8". That could cause some issues, especially if you go up against some bigger guard play.
David Goliath, bro.
Yeah, but they may be fast and twitchy, but they're going to lose size. I mean, they can on the defensive end, they can get exposed. Offensively, maybe they force some turnover. What?
You like bigger men?
Love big men. But yeah, I think that could be an issue for them. But outside of that, they have a lot of size on this team, so I think they'll be fine. It's going to take some adjusting, definitely losing those two guys. But I mean, you bring in a guy who basically played the FIBA like under 19 German team and played every game, and they won the silver. So he's got some experience against other world class athletes in this age. So I think he'll come in and he'll be fine. But the ball handlers kind of worry me a little bit just due to their size. Even if they are great offensively, the defensive end, they can get exposed. So, I think Bucknell will be middle of the pack, little above middle, but I don't think they're going to be anywhere near last year.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point with, they don't have a point guard, or their point guards are really young. I don't even necessarily care about the size wise with 5'8", 5'10". I think we've seen a lot of successful small guards there, especially at the mid-major level, even at the higher major level. But I think that their inexperience and can be really a big factor. Kind of how you said, they're two young guards. Turnovers could be an issue if you don't have a good point guard. They can really kind of handle the floor, not turn it over, kind of slow the team down. They might have to put a lot more into Dories as kind of bringing up the ball, and maybe they're going to rely on some of that. But the inexperience of those two young guards, I think, could pose a problem for Bucknell.
Oh, no way. They're Philly kids. Oh, yeah. They can ball. I'm not worried about that at all. Bucknell is going to fucknell in your guys' opinion. Matter of fact, I'm going to love on them. You know what? It's just time to slow it down and take it around town to Colgate. Ooh. Bad year last year. But all you know is championships. All I know is being the best. All these kids know is being the best, and then they get the taste of being ass. And then in the Patriot League, did not cover games. Vegas overhyped them. Matt Langle's a good coach. Love what he's done with Colgate. Gets them to the tournament mostly every year. It was a bad year last year. Thoughts? I have a few, but I don't want to start.
It just shows you how prideful and good that program has been for you to call it a bad year for them, and they were tied third in their conference. That just shows kind of the expectation that the school and the community around them set, that a bad year was 10-8, tied third in the conference. Some teams, are like, oh, we finished top 3 in the conference. That's a success. But the fact that, how prideful that program is shows you that a bad season is tied third.
Yeah. They've been spoiled, but I think they'll get back to it a little bit. I mean, they did lose their top 3-point shooters. What's her nuts? Louis Jacques, 38%, and then that Baker kid, 30. Louis Jacques and the Baker kid, 38 and 39% from 3, respectively, each. They added 3 freshmen. The Charlie Pugh, 14.5 points a game, 5.5 boards, 3 assists, 1.2 steals. Then Jonathan Niv, 13 points, 7 boards a game, and this Andre Alexenko kid, 19 points a game, 10 boards a game. So I mean, if he comes in and figures it out quick, this team could be really, really damn good. I don't think they're going to struggle too much. Maybe early, just a hair, but I have faith in this team. I like them. I think Colgate, big bounce back year. I don't think that's going to be a hot take. I think a lot of people who follow college basketball are going to assume they bounce back here, but they've added some pieces. Granted, some younger guys, some freshmen, but once they figure it out and get it acclimated, I think they'll be fine. I don't think they're going to be there all year, just getting their ass beat and having another bad year, especially with Langle back.
Cox and Cox together too. You got Cummins and Cox together. So.
Yep. I mean, that's always a great combo. So, I mean, I think they'll be just fine for next year. Take a little bit of work, but I think they'll be fine. Yeah,
and I like that big dude they picked up, that Colt Cam Brandon or whatever the hell his name is. That dude is coming back. He played a little bit under injury last year, or replacing an injured player last year. So it's always good to see these young guys take that next step. And those 2-point average, 3-point games a season turn into like an 8 to 10. Oh gosh, Holy Cross. Ooh, love the cross.
Yeah.
God bless,
Well,
but
I can't even talk about Colgate. Damn.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought we did.
I didn't say shit besides how prideful of a program it was. I just wanted to talk about the loss of Jeff Woodward. Woodward, I think. 6'11", big man down low. I think, a lot of people think that they might miss him, but I think they relied on him a little bit too much, especially last year. When Braden Smith transferred to Gonzaga, I think that really hurt them. They didn't have a good go-to scorer like they usually do from the guard position last year. So I think that's something that they really struggled with. And so I think Jalen Cox is going to be one of those guys. If he can step up and have a really good season, and they can rely on him to be a good scoring guard for them. I think that the bringing in that what was the name? Alasenko? Is that what you said?
Alasenko, something
Yeah,
like that.
I was looking, and he was recruited by pretty much damn near everybody in the Patriot League and the Ivy League. I think he's a good fit for the system that Coach Langle likes to play. And so I think that they're kind of going to be back into that system, that Colgate system that we've seen. And I think, the expectation's a lot lower on them than it was last year. The pressure's not as high, and I think they rise to the occasion. So,
the pressure is just as high. The pressure is just as high. Oh yeah, the pressure.
All right, fellas, I got a dip, but yeah, I'll have my top ones out. Just send me that list. I've got a graphic made. All I got to do is implement them and shoot it out. So,
cool.
That is all I got tonight. But we'll be back. Go Pack, go tomorrow.
See you next week. Yep.
Later, fellas.
Go Packs. All right, we done? All good?
I'm good now. Now that you let me talk.
Well, I heard you talk first. I didn't know. All right, Adayanko. Everyone's happy now. At Holy Cross, Worcester, Mass. Last season, 13-19, very bad season. I think that's just going to have to continue for Holy Cross. Sadly, they were feisty on times. Watching them last year on CBS Sports, but they just always kind of fell flat at the end of the season. But they do have 2 returning starters, which is nice. Decent coach, Dave Paulson. I mean, it's kind of a make it or break it year. Second year here, 23-42. Maybe you still got a couple years under your belt, 2 to 3 years under your belt left, but definitely a kind of a make it or break it here. But added a couple pieces from NAIA, added a couple pieces from D2. It'll be interesting to see how that works. So I don't have high hopes for Holy Cross, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's they're that team that kind of like EIU last year really struggled with injuries from the start of the season on, and then just really wasn't actually in the start of the season. It was really like the non-conference. They were actually above 500, and then they got very injured. A couple guys got hurt, and then they really struggled down the stretch. I think 5-13, 10th last. I don't see them as maybe in the bottom dweller this year. I think that they can maybe take a small little step up. But it's not like they're going to go from last to first or anything super crazy like that. I don't expect something like that. I don't think Paulson brought in the pieces that are needed to be able to kind of, do that. But yeah, I mean, they did bring in Aiden Dessou, younger brother of Dylan Dessou from Texas. So that was kind of an interesting. And then they also brought in a 6'11" freshman, Tim Finau. So any of you golf lovers, it's the cousin of Tony Finau. So some interesting little tidbits for Holy Cross. So I think they take a small step, maybe a little 6-inch box jump up to maybe 9th, 8th, something like that. You'll see soon.
All right. Yeah, I like that. Holy Cross. All right. Lafayette. I like this Lafayette team. Lafayette was feisty last year. They definitely fought fought some games. Coach felt like from off-season interviews as well that they were pretty close to winning some games, and they did. They fought Colgate pretty tough. They do lose a guard to UC San Diego, Alex Shakin. So that'll be fun. UC San Diego, can't wait to talk about them. Big West, early October, mid-October preseason preview. But Lafayette still has not the quarterback, Caleb Williams, but Caleb Williams, good points. He can kind of run the floor as well, but also play both sides of the ball, which is nice and much needed for point guard play this day and age. So McGarvey is very excited for his sophomore season, which is what we're looking forward to. And I think Caleb Williams is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the Patriot League. So I'm pretty high on this Lafayette team taking a bigger step than 7th. I don't necessarily think they crack into the top 2, but they maybe sneak into that 5th to 3rd ratio. So, yeah, I like this Lafayette Leopards team. Look out for them. Got some great players here. Kai Murdoch, Beckett Curry, great names. Christian Humphrey Rembear, great names. Great names on Lafayette.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's one of those they, had probably like 6 or 7 one-possession games that easily could have went their way and could have kind of flipped their season upside down. I do think it hurts, them losing Alex Chaikin to UC San Diego, and also another big piece that you didn't mention was losing Justin Vanderbeek to graduation, big time guy in the front court for them. And kind of what we see, here in, the front court there's a lot of front court players here in the Patriot League. So it'll be interesting to see how they can kind of fill that void that they're missing with him. Because as he was the Patriots Defensive Player of the Year last year. So it'll be interesting to see how they can move on from him. But yeah, I agree. I think, there was a lot of freshmen and sophomores that played last year. They played in a lot of close games. So now that they've got that in-game experience, when you get to those close games again, I think a few more of those flip to their side. And I think that can change them from a 7-11 to an 11-7 type season there in the Patriot League. So I like the Lafayette Leopards too as well.
Love it. Completely agree. All right, Lehigh.
What a graphic.
Be it Bethlehem, right? Bethlehem. What a logo they got. Modernity, whatever the hell you pronounce it, sucks for logos. We've seen it with Cracker Barrel. Last season, 11-19, 367 win percentage, 6-12 in the Patriot League. Just not the same Lehigh and Brett Reed that we know. Look at that record. It's the first winning record outside of it's damn near the first winning record we've seen. 287, 259, 18 years. 2 returning starters for a poor Lehigh team. It's tough for me to completely back out, but 3 freshmen starting potentially in your roster with 2 returning starters will be interesting. We'll see if they need to get probably one of those off the bench. But there's a potential for 3 to start. But Lehigh is such a good program, and like I say, programs matter. Elliot, take it away. I'm on the back.
I mean, I think they're, it's hard to go off of a kind of a veteran coach in this, with this team here at this school, 18 years going on, 19th season there at Lehigh. So you'd think that he would kind of, know what to expect, kind of know how to prepare and how to handle his teams. But as we saw last year, it just didn't really work for them. I don't know if they're going to be very good, in my honest opinion. I think they've got Nasir Whitlock, top leading scorer. Obviously, they're going to rely on him. I think he averaged 10 points, 2.5 rebounds a game. They're kind of reliant on the 3, if I remember correctly, and so it'll kind of really depend on how well they shoot the 3, and then also the fact that how those 3 freshmen that you had mentioned, if they're going to start, how quick they grow up in non-conference play, and get ready for conference play. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not very. I think that you can see them as maybe a similar tied 8th. And surprised, what up, Trev?
Let's go, baby.
I forgot to tell Kyle I can go back to my regular schedule, so I'm not doing it tonight.
All right. Well, we are somewhat higher on Holy Cross, but not a big step. And I'm higher on Lafayette. I love Lafayette. I think Elliot was too. We're not.
Really?
We're in agreement of not higher than Lehigh as well. We love Lafayette. I think Lafayette took a. They're a few seconds away from turning that season around.
Lehigh
will be fine, but
Lehigh is low.
You lose. You lose 27 points a game, 10 boards, and 3 blocks a game, and however many assists. I don't know. Yeah, they've got small and they got big, so they can. I guess they can play both, but I don't know. It's Lafayette at the end of the day. It's fucking McGarvey. Pump the expectations, how I see it, but hey, we'll find out.
What about Lehigh?
Lehigh, I don't know. It's Lehigh. But have they ever really done anything?
Lilo.
Are we calling them Lilo this year? I mean, you got another. This is another team. You bump them up half a point on the power ranking because of the logo. Great logo. Bring this back, but yeah, just short and sweet. Yeah, it's not their year. Not their year.
All right, in agreement. Loyola tied for 8th last year. Just always kind of a bottom barrel team in this league. Let's be real. But I like Josh Leffa. Leffa's a good coach. He's got some roots, and I think what he brings to the table can have potential here. I like what they bring. 3 returning starters, so maybe they have a little step up here. Jordan Stemke, Braden Speed, some great names. Everett Barnes, good freshman they bring in. Emmett Adair from Australia. So they're kind of building for the long run here. Do I necessarily think that they take a big step up in this league? No, but they definitely are building for the long run. And I like Leffa.
Yeah, I do too. I think he's a good coach. I think he got basically the max that he could out of his squad last year. I don't think he could have asked for better than 12-19, 6-12. I mean, the year before, you look, I mean, what were they? I think they had won. I wrote it down. Where's it at? 7 wins the year before to 12. So, it's a small step up. I think that, I don't expect them to make a drastic jump, but I do think that they will be able to maybe, be similar in terms. They're not going to take a step back, I don't think. Matt Blue, he's kind of a guy. There's
nowhere to go. Step back, 5 for 8.
True. That assistant Matt Blue, he's on kind of like at the NBA Global Academy. So they brought in a couple guys that he's worked with there at the NBA Global Academy. So I think it'll be interesting to see how those guys that they brought in there, overseas players, how they pan out. But yeah, it's hard to not like Loeffler after his first season, just seeing how he maximized that team's potential.
All right.
Yeah, I think they'll be better. I mean, he improved this team, almost double their wins last year, 7-12. In his first year here, you got 3 returning starters. You got bringing some talented pieces, but at the end of the day, it's Loyola. They weren't amazing last year. I think they can improve. I don't think they're going to be the worst team in this conference, but I don't think they're going to make like massive strides into contending for the Patriot League. I think they could pop up, catch some teams, play great games, a couple nights out of the year and just shock some teams. But I don't think this is a team that you really, it's kind of like Morehead. I don't think they're going to be really Morehead or Western Illinois, whoever I said, they're not going to be
Western
striking fear into you every night. But I do think, you will get a couple nights where they're clicking and this team could be good. Loeffler, whatever. I like him. I think he'll be solid. Give it another year or two. I think they'll be much better. But this year, I think they're gonna. I think they'll finish 8-10 or so in the Patriot League. 7-11, somewhere around there. I think they're gonna win more games, but I don't think they're gonna be a massive improvement.
All right, and the ultimate team that we're talking about before the final projections, and we get out of here try to get out of here in under 2 hours and 10 minutes. Navy midshipmen, the other troops last season, 15-19, just felt that doesn't feel right. I feel like that team was better last year. They took a massive step up from their improvements the year before, and now you're returning 5 starters. I get that it's but Army's not returning as many starters, losing the seniors. I get it's a little different than, you're not as obligated to transfer from Navy to somewhere because you're there for a different reason. But I think this Navy team definitely could make and flirt with some numbers here. And you got a first-year coach here as well. So that'll be interesting to see how that works. Coming from East Tennessee State, you can't, great program as well. And now you bring back all these just kind of random, just glue guys. I think Navy could flirt with the Patriot League title here. But first-year coaches kind of stray me away. But the continuity, the familiarity of it all, and just, it's the troops.
Yeah. He John Perry, he played at East Tennessee State.
Yeah, sorry.
He played under DeShellis, Ed DeShellis, the former coach. He coached him at East Tennessee State,
and they were juggernauts. They were juggernauts at that time.
And so that was like very beginning 2001, 2002, and then Perry just followed him throughout his coaching tree. So he's been with DeShellis from East Tennessee State, I think Penn State, and then now Navy. And so they hired within, and the fact that, obviously, you, like you said, you bring in the same, you're not going to have more returning starters just because it's a naval academy. It's one of the military academies, so you don't have as much turnover. But the fact that, first year head coach, you got 5 returning starters, which just has me questioning why the hell did Ed DeShellis freaking leave when he knew that this season was going to be possibly better than last season. So just he definitely left John Perry in a very good spot with the 5 returning starters. Probably, I would say, the Patriot League Player of the Year in the guard in freaking Austin Benigni. He's the free throw merchant of college basketball. And then they also have a couple big men. They've got the number 1 rebounder in the Patriot League from last year and the number 2 rebounder in the Patriot League from last year, Donovan Draper and Aiden Kehoe. Kehoe was the number 1 rebounding big man there in the Patriot League. He led the Patriot League in rebounding, and then Draper was second. So the fact that, they were 1 and 2 in rebounding with Noah Williamson, Matt Rogers, all those guys kind of says something about the physicality that they have. But also they've got the guard play. So I think this is a Navy team to be reckoned with. And I would be it'll be interesting to see if they can stay healthy with those 3 guys there at the front and center of things. I think they can do some damage there in the Patriot League.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like this Navy team. The fact that you return your 5 starters and coaching staff minus the head coach is a gigantic plus. It's not going to be the returning starters. And then you got to learn a new system with all new coaches. I think Perry just knows what he has with these veteran, guys that are still here. You got some decent bench players too. Now they're going to be learning from these guys that have been in this system. Granted, new head coach, so maybe some things will change, but coaching staff's the same. You got the same 5 starters. I think this is going to be a really, really good Navy team. I think they're gonna jump up into the top 3 this year. I think this is going to be a team that's going to pick off teams and play really good defense and just kind of grind you out too. They did say they want to play a little faster, but at the end of the day, it's Navy. They're not a running gun school. Sure, under Perry, they might change the tempo up a little bit and go a little faster, but I don't think they're going to be running and gunning to really just throw everything off. But this is a team that veteran. It's just going to be defense. It's going to be defense, rebounding, typical fucking what's the word I'm looking for?
Service Academy.
Service Academy, thank you. Typical Service Academy, same thing in football. It's just what they do. So I don't think much will change, but I think this team's more veteran laden and more experienced. This is going to be a really good Navy team this year.
I'm a proponent for. I want the Commander-in-Chief trophy to be in basketball, just like it is in football.
They're playing Air Force this year. I read too.
They do their own trophy.
Not everybody plays in basketball. Navy,
Air Force is playing them this year.
Now they are. They don't
play
play
every year.
They don't play every year.
20, 30 years or whatever they said.
So I'm a big proponent of they need to do the Commander-in-Chief trophy for
I
basketball.
thought they do. They definitely play basketball. They've definitely played each other in basketball.
I mean,
I don't think so because Air Force is out.
Navy and Army does, but Air Force never doesn't. Air Force doesn't play Army this year, but they do play Navy. But
they don't play Army.
They definitely play a lot more than what you're saying, though. They play. They try to schedule a non-con all the time. For those.
I lost.
I think it needs to be a freaking every year thing, just like it is in football.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that they're not independent, so it's a little harder. But now that you're going to a 32-game season, I think you've got the leeway to do it.
Throw the Space Force University in there. All right. Let's get into it. We've talked enough.
Right here. There's the return of the Air Force on the schedule for the first time in 20 years. They'll play December 8th in Annapolis. That's a long time. Yeah, what the hell?
Figure it out, guys. Come on. All right. Army, though. Army's played Air Force, though, a few times, I think.
Yeah, they have, but apparently Navy hasn't. I didn't think it was that long, but I know they haven't played the last couple of years. I didn't realize it was 20
I know Army's played Air Force. I know that. But all right, let's get into it. Projections. Forget all that nonsense. Let's just go 10. Let's go 10 from 1. I will just go ahead and go first. Number 10 for the projections of the Patriot League. I'm going to go Lehigh. Lehigh, the Mountain Hawks. I think they have a regression or just stay at the bottom of the barrel of that league. With 9, I'm going to go Holy Cross. I think Holy Cross they're lame. They're lame. Holy Cross is lame. They like the pieces that they've added, but I think they just stay down there. And then I will go ahead and go Army in the 8th spot. They take a little step back. In the 7th spot, Dwayne Simpkins takes a step back. I like this American team. They're a good program, but they finished 7th as my hot take on the Patriot League. American in the 7th spot. And the 6th spot will be Loyola with Josh Leffler. And then 5th, Lafayette with McGarvey. 4th will be Boston. 3rd is Navy. I like the returning starters, but I think first-year coach, even though he's stayed in the program, and they did hire within, it will be an adjustment, and that's maybe why Ed DeShell left. They always just finish 2nd. They always just finish 3rd. Never claimed a Patriot League title. It will kick them in the butt when they finish 2nd or 3rd. And then 2nd will be Colgate for me as they kiss it back. And 1st, I was high on them. I like Bucknell Bison to get it done and win the regular season.
Yeah, I'll go. I got Lehigh, bottom of the barrel. Holy Cross, LMU, Lafayette, kind of just same as last year, but I'm sorry, Army and Lafayette switched. I think Army takes a step back. And then I've got American right above Lafayette. They're definitely going to struggle. I think they'll be a good roster, but way too many freshmen and losing too many key pieces for them. And then after that, I actually have Bucknell right above them. I'm kind of hit. They're not going to be bad, but I don't think they're going to be like top of the conference. And then following that, we have Navy, Boston, and Colgate.
Colgate claims it for you. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Elliot, round us off.
Yeah, so I've got here at number 10 in the bottom of the barrel, I'm going with Army. I think they just don't return basically anybody. I think they're going to really struggle this year. Number 9, I have Lehigh. 8, Holy Cross, taking that small little box, 6-inch box jump up to 8. 7, I've got Loyola Maryland. 6, I've got American. I think they do take a step back. Middle of the pack for Dwayne Simpkins' team. 5, I have Lafayette. Bucknell is going to be my 4. I've got 3 is going to be Colgate. No, Boston. And then I've got Colgate at 2, and I've got Navy winning it with the returning production that they have.
All right. All 3 different there. Two of us had Little Rock winning an OVC. I think one was SIU-E. And then we had all different there with Bucknell, Navy, and Colgate, but we all had them in our top 3 for the most part. Maybe not Bucknell for some, but yeah, that is much it. It's September. Well, it was a September 10th episode. It's now September 11th, unfortunately.
It's
always remember 9/11. But yeah, September 10th. And we're talking OVC and Patriot League, and we're 2 conferences down. We have 34 more to go. I'm pumped up. I'm really excited. That was fun. We did about an hour each conference, a little less because we did go about 20 minutes in. So we pick up next week. Stay tuned on our Twitter. Look at Twitter at Pump Fake Pod. Pinned tweet has all of our content calendar. We will be back 3 episodes next week, I believe. It's either 3 or 4, but I know it's 3. So we'll be talking 6 conferences at minimum next week. I'm pumped up for it. How you guys feeling after that? That was fun.
It was fun. Definitely ready for the season to start, but it's going to be great.
Yeah, no, it was good. 2 hours, 15 minutes, college basketball in September when everybody else is talking college football and NFL and who else knows how the Brewers are going to screw the playoffs up. You know, it's
always down to talk NFL, but yeah,
a great time. This is what I live for is college basketball. So I'm excited. I'm pumped up. And
for those
mustache too.
Happy to be back, and we appreciate everybody in the live chat again from within. Appreciate the $5 smackaroo for us, and just everybody in the comments, kind of chatting with us, hanging with us, and then also just anybody who watches this, on replay. Obviously, they'll be saved. So as the season gets closer, more people will start to dive in. So we hope you enjoyed. We hope you tell other people about us and continue to kind of grow with us. And we build a good, successful start to this season. Got to build a good foundation with all these team and conference previews, and hopefully we can win everybody some money.
And that we will. I mean, 80 units last year for the kid. I mean, Trevor was up units, so I was up 60 units. I mean, almost 150, definitely above 165 units in the last 3 years. I mean, that's just remarkable. And that's what we do here on the Pump Fake Pod. We'll continue conference previews next week. Stay tuned for that. Stay tuned to our Twitter. Stay tuned to YouTube. We're starting making those links. That way we can start scheduling these in advance. For that, peace and love, everyone. It's a fallen world. Stay safe. out there, and peace and love to everybody.
Toodles.